Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode on the Band of Insiders podcast. My name is Franz Jacobs and I'm here to share something interesting with you again this week. We're going to do another feature episode. The focus of the feature episodes is to dive in deep into a specific technology, a new innovation, or a trend that I see popping up. This week, we're kind of going to continue on where we left off last week. Last week, we looked at how social media is changing. We looked at all the new social platforms that were launched in the last couple of months and what that means for social media moving forward and where things might be heading. And the reason why I want to continue with this today, because we didn't really discuss the fact that there's a new thing that is going to enter our social media feeds. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. And first of all, what does that change for us as users? But second of all, there's a major business opportunity there for creatives, brands, and so forth. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Hope you enjoy it and have fun. So today I want to talk to you about ownable AI characters. Last week, someone in the Band of Insiders WhatsApp community shared some interesting things that he was seeing with regards to AI characters and social media. Thanks for that, by the way, if you're listening or watching. Now, that triggered two things for me. One is what we discussed last week, which is the change that is happening in social media and all the new platforms that are popping up. But two, the question of how will AI characters change the social landscape that we know and love today? And not only that, what about the market of entertainment? The latter is what I want to dive into today with you all. How will AI characters affect the platforms that we now all use? And how will some people turn this into very profitable businesses? So let's start at the beginning. How does social media actually work? How does your feed get filled with content? There are two important topics to discuss here. First of all, the graph. And second, of course, the famous algorithm. First off, the graph. The graph is a map of connections. It consists of one, nodes, people, posts, topics, edges, the relationships between them, follows, DMs, likes, saves, watch time, etc. And edges often get weights. For example, a DM is a stronger edge than, for example, a like. So the graph is basically a large map of the things you have done with your social media account. Then there's the famous algorithm. The algorithm are the rules of the map, which we just discussed is the graph. So what does the algorithm do? It pulls candidates from the graph. So posts from people you follow, topics you linger on, or a few fresh tests. It then ranks those candidates with a model that predicts what you will watch, save, reply, or hide. The algorithm then updates the graph after you act. So the loop keeps on learning. Meaning the algorithm decides what to serve you based on the graph and its own knowledge and experience. Now, social media has changed a lot. When social media started, it ran on the so-called friend graph. That means your feed was mostly people you knew. The system looked at connections like follows, tags, comments, and DMs, and then surfaced posts from those relationships. Early Facebook and early Instagram felt like this. Your cousin's vacation photos showed up because you were connected, not because beaches was your topic. And over time, the center of gravity moved to the interest graph. Now the feed cares more about what you engage with than who posted it. Watch 2 latte art clips to the end and save one and you will see more coffee content from creators you do not follow. TikTok's For You page made this pattern obvious, and every platform followed with Explore pages, Reels, Shorts, and similar surfaces. So why did this shift happen? The supply of content exploded. Platforms needed a way to sort it beyond who knows who. Also, short video made what holds attention a stronger signal than a social connection. And last but not least, people follow more accounts than they can keep up with, so ranking by interest keeps the feed fresh. Now the big question is, what will AI-generated content do to these graphs? Will the social platforms change it again? As I alluded to last week already, one possible outcome is that social platforms will give us users more control over what we want to see. Just like OpenAI announced for its Sora app. Not only that you can tell it what type of videos you want to see more of, but also maybe with human-only created content instead of just AI. But what are the social media companies going to do about the possible upcoming flood of AI characters with their own AI-controlled social media accounts? Now let's discuss that. When characters join the graph, what will platforms do when AI characters run their own accounts and post autonomously? We are about to find out. Character accounts already create, comment, and DM at scale. The question is not if they will show up in our feeds, but how the system will treat them. A great example of this that is already happening right now is AI XBT on Twitter, aka X. The first time I mentioned this account was in my second newsletter ever, back in December 2024. Then it just had reached 100,000 followers. Now it sits at a whopping 471,000 followers. Forbes describes how the agent scans 400 plus key opinion leaders and replies to posts with timely insights and real market data when it comes to the crypto industry, making it a very valuable and very interesting source for many crypto traders. Again, to reiterate, this account is fully automated. The people who created this do not decide what it will post or not post. They are solely focused on expanding its capabilities, including now sending DMs to people who pay it a fee for more real-time updates. It's a pretty simple, but maybe a big shift. The graph used to be people posting to people. Soon it will be people and characters posting to people and other AI characters. That changes the map and the rules. So what might be changing in the graph? Well, for nodes, add characters and co-pilots alongside people, creators, and brands, for example. For the edges, add conversations and actions, not just follows and likes, but ask, answer, join, book, buy. And then the weights, add trust and usefulness. A helpful action in a chat may count more than a passive view. Now let's talk about the early success of different AI characters. That people want to talk to AI characters has already become very clear thanks to the success of Character AI. As we already hinted to last week, Character AI is a very popular AI platform and the numbers are staggering. Character AI serves about 20 million monthly users and they are very sticky. Users spend over 75 to 80 minutes per day chatting with characters, an unheard number when it comes to social media. The audience actually skews very young and mostly female, with roughly half of it being Gen Z or Gen Alpha. As discussed last week, Character AI has rolled out an AI-native feed in its mobile app for short, remixable character posts, scenes, streams, and clips. Meta has also rolled out AI characters to chat with in multiple versions at the moment. It really feels like they're testing to see what the perfect AI character is going to be. First, they tried celebrity versions where you can chat with an AI version of Tom Brady, for example, which launched at the end of 2023. This wasn't a great success and got shut down almost a year later in 2024. Currently, they are more focused on their AI studio, which is a way for people to launch their own AI characters. Of course, with almost every new technology, things get misused and go to the extreme first. In people's Facebook and Instagram feeds, a bunch of these AI characters started popping up with some very interesting, strange names like Russian Girl and Stepmom. What might be even worse is that millions of messages have been shared with these characters, showing that there's some sort of weird demand for this. I don't know. But again, everything starts most of the time with something strange and awkward. At the moment, these AI characters, though, are all boxed in, either within the specific meta category or within platforms like Character AI. But what happens if they get a social media life of their own? Just like AI XBT runs its own X account, what if agents get the power to create other social accounts if they like? That might be the moment the agent graph will really start taking shape. But I also think this can be a massive opportunity for some creatives out there. So let's talk about AI character ownership. One of the strongest use cases that Ethereum, yes, the blockchain with its own cryptocurrency called ETH, is that it can bring property rights to the internet. And by the way, to countries who don't have them, which can unlock opportunities for millions of people and unlock trillions in debt capital. But that's the story that I wrote about earlier. Now, digital property rights, we already saw happening with the start of the NFT hype from a few years back. Yes, the monkey pictures and so forth. I am not here to give you another long argument why NFT technology is so interesting. Let's just say it is, and it works for the sake of the conversation today. So some major companies have been involved in building the agentic tech layer that will be needed to take AI agents and therefore AI characters to a level where they can become sovereign superstars. Mainly the Ethereum Foundation, again, without blockchain, no digital property rights, Google, and Coinbase. Here's the stack that they created that makes ownable characters possible. First, it's now possible for them to have a passport thanks to Ethereum and the ERC-8004 technology, a public agent registry so other apps and AIs can recognize the same character across platforms. Then there's an actual ownership certificate possible with NFT technology on Ethereum, a transferable certificate that proves who owns the character. We can even make it possible that the character can hold its own assets and credentials. Then there's the debit cards with some limits. Google developed this in collaboration with Coinbase. You set spend rules and a budget, and your character can pay for small tasks and services with receipts and user-approved mandates. And it can use stablecoins to settle instantly. And then there's the phone book for services, Google's agent-to-agent protocol, a discovery layer where agents can find and talk to each other for services. What all of this technology means is that you will be able to build a living virtual character that can expand itself, with your directions of course, on many different platforms. You can prove that you own it and can therefore turn this character into an actual business. So let's talk about the business opportunity here. Now, what this unlocks could be pretty damn awesome for some of you, because you can now prove ownership of a digital character or an agent. You can turn this character into an actual business. Let's look back at character AI again, where creators have been developing characters with massive storylines, full of character traits, backstories, and lore. When I looked at their blog, I found creator spotlight articles where they highlight the work of specific creators on their platform. Let me introduce you to Vistry, I hope I say the name right, who they introduce as follows. Vistry uses character AI to express her emotions and loves developing storylines with her favorite characters that resonate with her community. Some of her most popular characters are Henry Wheeler, Andres Estrada, and the Vows and Valor Boys. So let's say Henry Wheeler attracts millions of users on the character AI platform. Now let's also say it's an AI agent and its creator owns it as an NFT. This character could now expand to other platforms and connect with fans there as well, just like any other popular human influencer or celebrity does at the moment. So think of the character as a small studio that can work in 3 places at once. It can post short clips and win the discovery feed on the interest graph. It can do community chats, and the recurring storylines build trust on the friend graph. Maybe helpful actions in the thread turn attention into revenue on the agent graph. If Henry Wheeler is ownable, you can take him wherever the audience moves and keep the receipts clean. Licensing becomes easier when ownership is clear. If a game studio or a streaming partner wants Henry as a cameo, you can grant rights for a season, set splits, and track payouts. Or if a toy company wants a limited run, you can do that too. I can totally see these AI characters being used inside games as attention grabbers, just like we saw a bunch of celebrities pop up in games like Call of Duty and Fortnite. Next, maybe somebody wants to turn it into a movie. Sure, why not? You get the point. The future is going to be wild. So, some closing thoughts. In March of this year, I wrote an article titled, "Will Your Next Favorite Celebrity Be an AI?" Back then, all the tech we just discussed was not available yet. Seeing the progress in both AI and blockchain, which has the possibility to unlock exactly that, creating an agent as a superstar, is very impressive. So all I know is that 6 months ago, this all sounded like sci-fi. Today, a character can post, chat, and even pay for tiny tasks under your rules, while you keep the actual ownership rights. So the next breakout celebrity might be written in prompts, staffed by a small team and owned by its creator. I'm betting we'll see a wave of weird, wonderful characters that make social feel new again. If that excites you, build now while the field is open. So that was it for this week. I am not 100% sure how everything will turn out, of course, but I do think AI characters or AI agent characters, however we're going to call them, are going to have a place on the internet and in our social feeds. I think it's up to us to see how we want to deal with these, if it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, probably a mix of both. But I do think, again, as a radical optimist, it's an exciting time. I think if you have the capabilities to build characters, to come up with these storylines, design them, etc., this is super, super exciting. So again, thank you for listening or watching this week's feature episode. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends who might find this interesting as well, and give us some 5-star reviews on your favorite podcast platforms while you're at it. I'll leave it at that. Thank you again. My name is Fons Jacobs, Band of Insiders podcast, and hopefully you'll tune again next week. Peace.